What's going on, guys? I hope everyone's well and welcome back to another YouTube video. We're back, and today is actually going to be another sit down video. I'm going to talk about whether or not I think, well, it doesn't fucking matter what I think, whether competing is for you. And I'll just be talking over a few options that you have, things that you need to consider, and yeah, just whether or not you're really just doing it for the right reasons. Because right now it's competitive season, everyone's trying to get really lean, shredded out of their mind, and there's some things that come along with that you probably should know before you embark on that endeavor. Being a coach, I have worked with people who have had that desire to compete, and once they've actually initially started that process, they realize that it isn't actually really for them. I think because you see someone get lean, you see someone take a medal home, you see the engagement on Instagram, you see the comments, the likes, all that shit, and I think people just think it's just very glamorous. Also, in other news as well, I no longer have a coach, so I'm going to be coaching myself just throughout the rest of this off season, and also, to be honest with you, just to back away from pushing food a little bit, just for a small bit. I'm just going to be looking to hold my body weight around 115, 116. Performance is improving, so I don't really think it's necessary for me to really push a lot further than this until the time's right, really. So yeah, I am coaching myself, so yeah, exciting times. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna make some food, gonna make meal 3, and I'm gonna sit down with my whiteboard like I did in the previous video and talk to you guys about competing. But yeah, I really need to use the fan, but I feel like the noise will pick up on camera, so I'm just gonna leave it and sweat it out for this entire thing. Should you compete? So I basically broke this down into pros and cons, and then I'm just going to elaborate on each point just a little bit more. But as it's the season where people are doing comps, people are getting shredded for shows, and it's Instagram kind of has that buzz of people just prepping. There's that desire now for everyone to kind of want to do a bodybuilding show. So from my experience, I just want to break down the pros and cons of competing, and really just to get you think as to whether or not this process is actually for you. If it is, that's perfect, that's great. I don't want to be one of those guys who slags off bodybuilding because I love bodybuilding. It's what I enjoy doing. For me to just have a list of cons and just complaints, it then doesn't make sense for me to actually do bodybuilding. Do you know what I mean? We're going to begin with the positives. I'm going to go old fashioned and start with the pros. What is good about competing? The first point I've got is the process is tough. It's such a hard process. Yeah, that's a pro because it provides a lot of life lessons, it provides you with discipline, and it also provides you with adversity. And I think we are in a very, very soft time, and bodybuilding is something that just isn't soft. I just don't think you can get through that process being soft. You're going to be presented with adversity, you're going to be presented with challenges. I think this is one thing in life that can really present you with shitty times, but with the ability to get out of it, with the ability to persevere, push through. You're so protected from adversity, and oh no, it's okay, just don't worry about it, don't worry about doing too much, you can always do too much. I am sweating like a mother. But yeah, so it's that adversity, it's that toughness that's actually a good thing for you in life. Second point, and something that we cannot ignore here, is if you're a coach and you're looking to get into the business of preparing people for shows and you want to attract clientele, doing a prep can help with that process. Now, I'm not saying this should be the sole reason that you do it, because, well, potentially you need to weigh out whether or not it's actually worth it for you to do that. There's probably other things that you can do in terms of business that will actually help it. So just going through a standard fat loss phase or preparing for a photo shoot or whatever it might be, something that's a little bit less extreme. So, but we cannot ignore the fact that doing a prep will benefit your business if you're a coach, and we can hide it under the rug, you can avoid talking about it, but it is going to help give you an audience, and it's going to give you a chance to present your journey to that audience. So, and people love that stuff. Like, if you look at the views of how many views I got in comparison to now, between like a competition prep and now just like off season, people just enjoy that, watching that process, and they invest in you, and then that make some inquiry with coaching. Next pro here is just you enjoy that process. So you're somebody who's done loads of fat loss processes before, like you've done photo shoots, you've done holiday preps. You want to kind of take it to the next level. You just love the process of dieting. You love the process of getting leaner, seeing those results. The next step for you might be stepping on stage, and because you just enjoy that process, you enjoy getting lean. So I feel like in our flat it's got so hot. I feel so sorry for the people that are like higher up on like the 4th and 5th floor of this building, because it'll be a nightmare. But last one is competition. A lot of people who get into bodybuilding are coming from backgrounds of sports. Like I come from basketball and football, and I just like competition, competing against people. If you're somebody who just wants to win something or has a chance of winning something and you want to beat people, then competing in bodybuilding, and you obviously love training, is gonna be a good idea. So competition is the only thing in terms of training really, obviously aside from powerlifting and strongman, where you can get that competition with your physique. So those are kind of the main ones that I've got down for pros, and in my experience this is something that's helped me a lot, especially the process of it being tough and competition as well. I think it's just great to have that. I think as a man, I think it's important to have competition in your life. So let's get to the negative parts. It's tough. It is tough. So if you're in a position where you are a little bit compromised, you're already stressed out in life, you're struggling with your mental health, it's probably not a good idea to put yourself through this process. If you're somebody who's quite sensitive, not only is it tough, it's also very misunderstood. You may get backlash from friends, family. You can't understand why you'd want to actually do that. You might miss out on events, so it can feel quite lonely. So these are two things that you need to consider. That it's tough and also heavily misunderstood. The best thing you can do is try and surround yourself with people who can understand the endeavour. But again, I will caveat that with, you have a choice in this process. This is not something that you absolutely have to do. So bear that in mind. When people misunderstand, it is understandable that they misunderstand. You have a choice. It is a weird endeavour. As much as you might love it, it's very fucking strange, but you love it, so it is what it is. The physical aspect of prep, especially when you get to kind of the deep end, like you're 4 weeks out, you're 3 weeks out, you're going to begin to lose sleep. You're going to begin to get hunger pains. You're going to start to wake up in the middle of the night, needing the toilet a lot, losing your libido, just complete lack of sex drive. Your engagement with people is really poor. You like space out in conversations, and not through fault of your own. Sometimes it's just really hard to concentrate. You almost get to a point where you look ill. You rarely go to the toilet because you're not eating a lot of food. You have a lot of fatigue. Training is no longer that enjoyable once you get to that dog end of prep, because you have not really as much strength. You feel weak. Training just becomes less enjoyable. Joints become more niggly. If you have people in your life, like you have a partner who's not into bodybuilding at all, how is this going to have an effect on her? Or him? How is that going to have an effect on you having poor libido, you not being able to sleep properly, your engagement with people, your interaction? This needs to be considered. Next point, body dysmorphia. You, at the time when you're getting lean, you have absolutely no idea how lean you are. You have no clue. You still think you can be leaner. And of course, most people can be. But I look back at photos now and think, oh my God, I was very, very lean. Like I was pretty close to being on the money with my condition. But at the time I was just like, nah, like I just didn't think I was that conditioned. I just thought I was like beach ready. So body dysmorphia is a real thing. This, of course, is something that you need to consider once you finish your show. Body dysmorphia, if you've spent a period of time where you're lean, you've got more engagement on Instagram, you're getting more likes, you're getting more DMs, with honeys in your DMs, you are then going to go to a position after the show where you gain body fat, engagement goes down, you look softer. How are you going to feel about that? How are you going to feel about not looking shredded for the rest of the year? And then finance. Can you finance the prep? Again, I would just say make sure you just have a stable job and just be prepared to pay money out. So don't just think it's going to be coaching. Yes, of course, coaching is going to be pretty pricey especially if you're looking at high-end coaches, like between 200 to 500 pound a month for a coach. Posing as well, like posing coaches. If you're a first timer, you need to get a posing coach. You need to know how to pose properly. Don't just wing it and look at YouTube videos. You need to be in there with a competitor who can show you how to go through the mandatories and just enhance your physique. Competition entry, so there are certain federations where it's quite expensive as well, paying like hundreds of pounds to enter in different classes. Again, that's money. Tan, that's going to be money. If you're a girl, makeup, that's going to be money. Hair, heels, bikini, this is all money. So again, you need to ensure that you're willing to invest that money if you're wanting to do very well. So is the juice worth the squeeze for you to be spending that much money just to step on stage? Are you trying to improve your business? Do you really enjoy the process? Do you need to have that competition? Do you want to take yourself through that toughness to develop more discipline? So consider your finances as well, guys. My personal experience with the competition prep, I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed the process and the competition mostly. As in like stepping on stage and actually like going through the poses and competing against people and being compared. I really enjoyed that process. The one thing that I didn't like was my ability to do my job. At the time I was still doing personal training, and when you're eating like 1,000 calories at my size, it's very hard to focus. You just feel like you haven't got any energy to even walk. So taking somebody through a personal training session was extremely tough. As well, there's probably one more point that I want to add to that. You need to ensure that you've got a decent amount of training experience before you compete. Don't just train for 2 years and then step on stage. Make sure you've got a solid base behind you, 4 or 5 years of training consistently, and taking yourself through a process with a coach before you step on stage. But yeah, guys, I hope this was actually helpful. Not too long of a video today, but nonetheless I think it was definitely valuable. If you have any more suggestions for content, anything that you want to see specifically, just drop a comment below. Other than that, make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna go have a shower because I'm fucking sweaty. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.